Internets. What is good, y'all? I go by the name of Awthentik, man. We are finally here for NFL Game Day Kickoff. We got a big game going on tonight. I hope y'all hyped up for another dope show, man. Awthentik and The Beard, one time we in the building. I know Giants Nation is in the building. Who's in that chat, man? Let me see them biceps if y'all trying to see them Cowboys lose this game tonight. I know NFC East lovers out there definitely looking for a Cowboys L, man. To start the division off with a little half a game lead here going into Sunday would be an amazing thing. I already see the chat is popping, man. Without further ado, let me bring in my co-host, The Beard. What's up, boy? Left side.
Strong side. What is cracking?
Hey, everything's good, man. How was your day, man? How was your day?
My day was good. I mean, literally last night I was just doing all types of crazy fantasy stuff. Just looking up, players and stats and just getting excited. It was like a kid on Christmas. I'm super stoked. We are back. Football is back. I can't imagine what it would be like for Tampa Bay because their team won a championship, I think they had fans a little bit towards the end of their season. But to be able to see your team, Tom Brady, who just won a championship for the first time with a packed stadium, it's going to be insane down there tonight. So
yeah, and they won a Super Bowl in their home stadium, right?
Yeah. But
that feels like that was just a couple months ago. We were doing the broadcast for that game, man, and here we are, man. We're here, NFL kickoff. Thursday night football. I wish we had a doubleheader tonight. I know they probably gonna do the doubleheader on Monday night, but I wish we had a doubleheader.
I thought that they were doing that too, but when I went and was doing my picks for the week, I looked and it was only one game on Monday night this year.
Oh, only one game on Monday night this year as well?
Yeah, no doubleheader on Monday this week.
That's interesting. I would have loved to get two games, man, back to back, man. That would have been really dope. But, today, man, I tell you what, I just saw that Common freestyle on LA Leakers. Yo, shout out to Common. That man still got some bars, man. He definitely still got some bars. He had a Kaepernick line on there. I was like, oh, my God. He said something like, they don't want to see me playing around like Kaepernick or something crazy. I was like, yo, that's big bars, man. But, let's get to this chat one time, man. Say what's up to some people in the chat and get this show on the road, man. We got about an hour, a little bit of change here before kickoff, man. So, let's get to it.
Show. Lax Fo Show says, I am not missing the show today. It's great to have you back in the building, Lax Fo. Don't forget, everybody, hit that little bell button, and that way, when we pop on, you might hopefully get the notification if YouTube does its job correct. Our resident Packer fan is in the building, Steve T. Go,
hey, what
Pack,
up, Steve
go.
T?
What's cracking, brother? Great to see you.
What up,
Simon is in the building. Mac, the Giants fan, is in the building. Waterfly is in the building. What's going on, Waterfly? Great to see you. Kelly, the Econ mom, is in the building. We got some OGs here. Lucas is back. What is going on, Lucas? Good to see you, brother.
Lucas in the building. What's up, fam? How you living?
And the one, the only, the entertainer talking sports is in the building.
I told him I need that stand up on this board one time. Giants Nation in the building. What's up, entertainer? How you living?
I actually was telling Awthentik I signed up for both of your contest entertainers, so I'm looking forward to taking both of those down at the end of the season. So I can hold it down.
We got fantasy goals, man. Big bread on the line. Big bread on the line. Big
goals today. Also, just in case anybody wants to know, the link is live for the Awthentik and The Beard DraftKings League, the Parlay League. Week 1 is live. It is in the description of the video, so it's a $5 entry fee. Top 5 people are going to win. So if you guys want to sign up for that, make sure you click that link in the description for sure. Who else we got in the building? We got Nicholas is in the building. He's hyped. Everybody seems to be super hyped. The sports influencer is hyped. My man is back.
Big shout out to both of them, first of all, but big shout out to the sports influencer, man. He ended up using that little clip from the end of the FanFest video for his Giants hype video, and fantastic job, bro. I might be hollering at you for some editing, man. I'm an editor myself, and I don't see editing that makes me go, wow. And when I saw that, I was definitely floored by that, man. So salute to you, and salute to my homie AJ one time, man. I appreciate you holding me down on that Xbox account for as long as you did, brother. That was big love, man. I'm about to order that new 2K tonight. That new 2K22 come out tonight. If you want some work, come holla at me. Authentic music on the Xbox, baby. You know what
Big Play Slay is in the building. What's going on, Big Play Slay?
Was chopping it up with them yesterday on Hub's channel. What's up, Slay?
21
Bark Nasty in the building. What's up,
is
Bark?
in the building. I see Marjorie in the building. I see 3 Dot in the building. Zach is in the building.
Marjorie, what up? Zach, what up?
King Tone is in the building. JJ Stangle.
Oh, JJ back in the building. What's up, JJ? How you living?
It is great to see everybody in here. Julisa's in the building. So we're definitely stoked for today's episode.
We got Adam Aniba in the building one
Checking
time. What's up, man?
From Periscope. Shout out to everybody who's watching us right now on Facebook, Periscope, on Twitch. We are on YouTube. We are all over the place. So shout out to everybody. We appreciate y'all. Football is back.
Back, baby. I'm hyped, man. It's awesome, man. This is what's up, man. It's good to just have a game and just a real game, a meaningful game tonight, man. It's going to be put on the record books here. I'm banking on that Dallas loss, man. But, hey, we talked about this a little bit off air. It won't surprise me if Dallas hangs around in this game a little bit tonight, man. It's not going to surprise me.
I mean, if the money has been pouring in on Tampa Bay all week, that line has jumped from, I think it started at 6.5, and last we checked it was at 9.5. So everybody thinks that Tampa's going to win the game. I mean, but it is any given Sunday on a Thursday. You know what I'm saying?
The 9.5 is tough, man, because 9.5 is like, I don't want to bet that if I'm a Bucs fan. If I'm a Cowboys fan, maybe I might mess around. And I want to say that the over-under was 52. That might have went up as well. Who knows?
It's going to be a crazy night tonight.
It is, man. And make sure y'all tune in on Sunday when we do the parlay, previewing a bunch of these games, man. That's going to be a fun time. It's going to be our first parlay show of the year, man. So y'all ready to get into these games or what, man?
Let's do it.
I need more biceps in the chat, man.
Biceps.
Left side in the building one time, man. We need some biceps in the chat one time before we get into this game. So, y'all, we're going to start off here with the Eagles-Falcons game, which is a pretty interesting matchup, man. This one is going to be at Atlanta. I know a lot of people are down on the Philadelphia Eagles this year, man. Everybody thinks that the Eagles are, pretty much going to fall flat, me and the Beard included. We had them both of us actually had them at, I want to say, 5-12. Yep. 5-12, which is pretty interesting. They're coming in here with a couple of injuries on the board for both teams. The Falcons are the more healthy team. They only got linebacker Brandon Copeland. He's questionable with a hamstring injury here. The Eagles got guard Brandon Brooks, offensive lineman Landon Dickerson, Rodney I don't know how you say that one, McLeod maybe. Davion Taylor with his calf. Eagles, I think, have a good chance to win this game. About the same chance that the Cowboys have against the Bucs tonight. I'm expecting the Falcons to come out here and do what they do, you know what I'm saying? But it won't surprise me if the Eagles can stay in this game. And I'll tell you why, man. The Eagles got a lot of speed at wide receiver. I think that's where they might surprise a lot of teams. I know a lot of people down on Jalen Hurts. I think, and I know you think this too, Beard, and Skip Bayless been chatting about this too on his show on Undisputed, that, Jalen Hurts could be a capable quarterback in this league. Now, Jalen Reagor, first-round pick. He was the 21st overall pick last year. Didn't have that great of a year, but I'm looking for him to bounce back and have a pretty good sophomore season. He only had 31 catches last year for 396 yards, 1 touchdown. And all the Eagles fans that I know and content creators have been raving about Quez Watkins in the preseason, who's had a great preseason from what everybody's saying.
I know you saw that catch.
So great. The catch was amazing.
That Jalen Reagor made in
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we talking about practice.
I was just going to say, I know we talking about practice, but I'm just saying, just keep an eye out.
If you made the catch, you made the catch. I made some hella catches in practice too back in the day. Hey, but they didn't show up in the stat line. But Quez Watkins, man, only 7 catches last year for 106 yards and a touchdown. It sounds like one solid game, if you ask me. But for the season, that was his stats. So I'm looking at that matchup as probably one of the main matchups in this game is the Eagles wide receiver core, and also Miles Sanders in the passing game going up against the Falcons. But what are you looking for mostly in this game?
I mean, on the Eagles side, obviously, all the eyes are going to be on Jalen Hurts. Like, is Jalen Hurts the answer or is Jalen Hurts not the answer? I mean, Atlanta's defense is not that good to begin with, so the opportunity is there for him to get off to a good start. As far as the rest of the Philadelphia team, I mean, they have an entire coaching change. So I'm curious to see how they're going to utilize Miles Sanders, because we talked about that. I felt like every single week last year, Miles Sanders would have a huge play and then he wouldn't touch the ball for 2 or 3 quarters. So I feel like that's something that you want to keep an eye out to see how they're going to utilize Miles Sanders. How is Jalen Hurts going to handle being a week 1 starter now? And then for me, one of the other things is the wide receivers. Who's going to jump out as the number 1? Okay.
Right.
Because, you have Jalen Reagor, you got the Quez Watkins, and now you have Devonta Smith. So it's like, who's going to be the go-to guy? And you still have the tight ends there. That's always been a big part of the Philadelphia Eagles offense is their tight end.
And I was copping for the tight ends last show. I know you were saying best tight end in the division is Logan Thomas.
Yes,
with the Washington football team. And, I was kind of copping for the Eagles a little bit there, with Ertz and Goddard. I think they're pretty decent at the tight end position, so it all depends. You said Ertz kind of on his way out, but I was surprised they brought him back this year, to be honest.
I think everybody was, to be honest with you. Like, I just, especially with the emergence of Goddard, so it's just kind of like, okay, so now who's really going to be getting the most targets? But everybody knows that, like, for a young quarterback to have that safety blanket of a tight end and or a running back who can catch the ball as well as Miles Sanders can out of the backfield, those are huge things to have for a young quarterback.
But then the thing with Miles Sanders that's tough is that sometimes it seems that the coach, with Peterson, he was taking him out last year for no reason. He'd get a big run and he'd take him out. But then the other half, it'd be like he'd get a big run and then he'd get a fumble. And then it's like, okay, we got to sit you on the bench like Omar Epps, like we talked about with the program. So it's a little bit of both with him. I think he's going to have to show that he is a consistent running back that you can line up at the number 1 running back position with a little bit of help from those other guys. The Eagles always do seem to have somebody else in the mix. Boston Scott has torched the Giants for years. It was Clement for a while who, was on the Giants roster, but we ended up cutting him out. I think the Falcons might have picked him up. I'm not sure who picked him up. But, yeah, I do think that that's important. Like, Miles Sanders definitely has to get off to a good start in this game if the Eagles are going to want to have a chance. And the emergence of a number 1 wide receiver that I think is going to be Devonta Smith. Now, when you see him in the preseason, man, I'm telling you, me and Diggy was talking about this on the Hubs channel last night. Like, the way he comes off the line, there's not many wide receivers that can get off the line like that. He's one of the fastest and one of the most deceiving wide receivers right now that I'm seeing as far as the young guys, compared it to how I looked at Terry McLaurin as a rookie. It's like you see this young kid come in the league and just, like, breaking waves pretty much with how he runs his routes, looking like a veteran in this league. So, for me, it's Devonta Smith that's going to be the one that's going to emerge as the number 1 wide receiver. Jalen Reagor, I know that a lot of people outside of the Philadelphia Eagles organization, they look at that pick and they go, oh, man, y'all passed up on Justin Jefferson. Y'all passed up on some really good talent out there. And Reagor, showing up only with 31 catches on a year, that's not that good. But that team was in shambles last year. We know we had a lot of quarterback issues, little banged up. Most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year was Carson Wentz. So they were dealing with that, not having time for the quarterback to actually throw the ball and get it out. Devonta, yeah. I like that. That's what's up.
Wait, is this the first Timism of the season? Like,
it might be.
Am I
I mean, what's so wild? We got so many hood names in the league. You got Devonta Freeman. I've been saying Devontae, but I think it is Devonta. We're going to see what it is, but maybe that is the first Timism of the year. Maybe that is the first Timism of the year.
So the other thing that's crazy, though, is for me, like, I'm super excited for Kyle Pitts, okay?
Yeah.
So, for those of you that don't know, I was a world-class tight end in high school. Just want to let everybody know about that. If you look at the intro video for Awthentik and The Beard, there is a a little still picture there of me catching the ball on
back in the day
defenders.
When we used to get our media from the newspaper in black and white with half-tone dots all over
look,
it.
That's the thing that makes me look so old, too, because I'm like, what my picture of me playing is in black and white.
Yo, speaking of that, like, looking old, right? Why is it like when they, like, throw back to any footage from our era? Like, I know we didn't have HD pixels, right? Everything was like 480p back in the day. But it's not like everything we watched was not clear. Like, I go to YouTube and I watch, like, an old clip from, like, Family Matters. I'm like, yo, TV did not look like that back in the day, bro. It was clear. They try to do us dirty, make us look like old senior citizens and whatnot.
Yeah. So, world-class tight end. And so, like, I'm excited to see Kyle
another
Pitts.
world-class tight end.
Exactly. And, he's wearing the same number I wore, number 8, I believe. So, like,
he's wearing number 8 in the NFL?
I'm pretty sure he's wearing number 8. That's another thing that's really cool.
Rest in peace to Coach Ashwell, our coach at Albert Einstein High School. The Beard got the jersey. So our high school colors were red and baby blue, right? Throughout all of known time at Albert Einstein High School, right? And right when we got there my freshman year, they built us a new school in 1997, and Coach Ashwell got us new jerseys. This was back in the day when, like, Maryland wasn't doing all the colored jerseys yet, right? And we got black uniforms, and we were just so hyped. I'll never forget it. He was hanging up on the back of his office. He was like, if we do well in the offseason, these the jerseys we're going to be wearing. And it was the number 8 that was hanging up in the office. You ended up wearing that jersey. I wore that jersey when they bumped us up from varsity my sophomore year. I definitely didn't get in the game my sophomore year. It was bad. They had us on the sideline for the Damascus game in the freezing cold. And shout out to Coach Ashwell, because he told us we couldn't wear sleeves unless you had the tight, like spandex Under Armour vibes. But this was when, like, Under Armour first came out, so, like, nobody could get their hands on no Under Armour. You know, I used to wear, like, a turtleneck under my shoulder pads. And that game, he was like, yeah, if your sleeves ain't tight Under Armour, you can't wear them. So, yeah, I was out that joint freezing, waiting for the hands team to get out there on onside kick, and never got my shot as a sophomore.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I mean, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but the biggest moment was when, my junior year, we ended Seneca Valley's, I want to say it was 56-game winning streak.
Yeah.
They had won the state championship like 4 years in a row. This school was insane. They were obviously like having a down time in the program.
They lost Chris Kelly at quarterback, who we thought was probably going to be an NFL player at the time, ended up going to Maryland, and that didn't pan out too well for him.
But we partied hard.
That was your regular back in the day.
That night kind of went into the whole weekend, so it was pretty wild. But yeah,
the Beard used to get off the field. Last one, I promise. My senior year, I didn't play ball, right? But I would go watch them play. And he was a junior. And he would, like, get off the field, and I swear to God, this was when I was driving my mom's Camry. Like, I would pick him up from the game, and it was, like, right to the party. This was back in the day when the Beard was partying. Like, as soon as we got in the car, we was partying like Varsity Blues, straight up. But, shout out to Coach Ashwell. R.I.P. to Coach Ashwell, man. And shout out to Einstein on that one time. But back to Kyle Pitts on that.
Kyle Pitts. So, I listen, I've already put down a couple of bets. One with Awthentik, which was Kyle Pitts is going to have over 1,000 yards. No, yeah, over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns or more. That was the bet. And so then I also made a bet with Mark Kokowski. I don't know if Mark's watching right now, but I made a bet with Mark that Kyle Pitts would have more touchdowns and more receiving yards than TJ Hawkinson this year. So I'm curious to see how Kyle Pitts is going to fit into this. I know we talked about this briefly. Is Calvin Ridley going to be able to step into the role as a number 1, or is he going to kind of like not be the guy like how it kind of was with Juju when AB left? You know what I'm saying? And then Mike Davis, who stepped in place of Christian McCaffrey last season when Christian McCaffrey went down, had himself a really good stretch and then kind of fell off. But he's got the starting job now in Atlanta. So there's definitely that offense is going to look a little bit different. So that's what intrigues me the most about this game is new people, on both of these teams. People having to, like, you're going to have to make some big plays here, whether you're Jalen Hurts or Mike Davis, so you're going to prove yourself. Kyle Pitts, you're drafted number 4 in the draft. I'm pretty sure the highest tight end ever drafted. Like, how good is he going to be? So those are the things I'm kind of looking at right now.
Yeah, and last show we did talk about the tight end situation in the first round of the NFL draft. Most of the time, tight ends drafted in the first round have been busts, especially in the top 10. Oh, shout out my man Steve Smith, word. Text me actually before the show. Appreciate you pulling up, fam. But with Kyle Pitts, I think he's got a lot of pressure on him, man, because not too many tight ends have done well out of the first round, especially out of the top 10. We talked about TJ Hawkinson being one of them, who a lot of people think is on the cusp of being a really good tight end in this league. He's done some things. And the other one being Eric Ebron, who's kind of getting older and, running out of time here. Now, as far as the Falcons go, there's a lot of roles here that are changing here. With Julio Jones being gone out of here now, you got Calvin Ridley, who I think – previous to doing my research for this show, right, I thought Calvin Ridley had a good chance of stepping up to being, a premier wide receiver for the Falcons this year. Like, they're A1. When I go and I look at the stats from last season, now we know Julio Jones was banged up with the hamstring injury pretty much half the season. He was struggling. A lot of fantasy owners were very down on Julio Jones. But Calvin Ridley, 90 catches last season, 1,374 yards, and 9 touchdowns. That's number 1 wide receiver numbers right there.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But they were also down a lot.
You know, I know a lot of people like to say that, man, but football is football, man. If you're putting up the stats, it's not like if we're up, like, you know, by 2 scores, I'm just going to be letting you score touchdowns on me in the secondary.
No.
The defense might kind of go to a bit of a more casual, not quite a prevent, but you'll see a little bit of loose coverage, trying to keep everything in front of you. But those are monster numbers. That's almost 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns at the wide receiver position. Giants fans know we struggled getting touchdowns, not only from the wide receiver position, just across the board from our team. Our top wide receivers had 3 touchdowns. And it was Darius Slayton. I forget, somebody else had tied him on that. So I think Calvin really can be that number 1 guy, especially when you got another target in Kyle Pitts out there to kind of replenish what Julio Jones is going to be taking away from this offense. And Russell Gage, 72 catches in a year where, you know, Julio Jones wasn't there. So both those guys stepped up. Now, there's one little issue I have with this Falcons offense. You know, as a Giants fan, Wayne Gallman came in for us last year. He stepped up pretty big, you know, in the absence of Saquon Barkley and when Devonta Freeman went down for us, who was also running pretty well, you know, at the beginning of his tenure with us when we signed him around midseason. The Falcons got Cordell Patterson listed as the number 2 running back. Can we put some respect on Wayne Gallman's name in this building one time? Because that's kind of crazy. I know Cordell Patterson can do it all. He's another one of those Taysom Hill kind of vibes in a different lane. But let's put some respect on my man Wayne Gallman's name. Come on, bro.
I mean, dude, Cordell Patterson can run some people over, though, too. Like, he's not just fast. I seen him truck a few people before when he was playing for Chicago last year. I mean, that's kind of crazy, yeah. So I don't even know where to go with that. That might just be one of those things like we're just gonna roster slot him here. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he is brand new to the squad. And he was cut. You know, a lot of people thought that Wayne Gallman was going to be a kind of running back that would get a little bit more money than he got from the Giants last season. And it seems like, you know, being cut from San Francisco, that the money thing is not really cracking for Wayne Gallman right now. And if the Giants get into some running back issues, you might see Wayne Gallman back in blue. I'm going to keep 100 with you. But, you know, we are kind of, you know, tight on time today. We got about a good hour of this show, so we're going to try to keep things moving. I know everybody's trying to get to that Washington football team game, and everybody's trying to get to that Giants game. 2 major matchups coming up. So just a couple little last things on this game, and I want to know what you got to score at for this one and who you got winning.
I mean, it's going to be a close game, I think. I really do. I think I was going back and forth on this game. I've been going back and forth in this game since we did our NFC East predictions, but I think Atlanta's going to come away with the win. I got Atlanta winning by the score of 24-20.
24-20 Atlanta. Now, I think when we did our schedule predictions, I picked Atlanta to win this game maybe. I think I'm going to flip-flop here. I think that the Eagles' speed at wide receiver is going to be the difference maker here. You know, the Falcons still kind of got to get things like flowing. I'll say we haven't seen anything from Kyle Pitts really to know if he's going to be a real guy in this league yet. Entertainer Talking Sports goes Atlanta 24-23. I like that. And if you're not subbed up to Entertainer Talking Sports and you're a Giants fan, you're doing something wrong. Your algorithms is all messed up. You need to go subscribe to my man, the Entertainer. So my score is going to be similar to Entertainer's. I'm going to say the score of this one's going to be 24-19 Eagles. And I just think this matchup with their wide receiver core going up against a relatively unknown Falcons secondary. If you look at some of these guys in their secondary, Eric Harris, Fabian Moreau, and Daron Harmon, all of them are making under $1.5 million this year. 2 of them making under $1 million. Kind of shows you where they are as far as the caliber of player. I wouldn't want that in my secondary. I think that Jalen Hurts is going to have some success running the ball too. And I think he's going to be able to keep them off balance. And Miles Sanders involved in this pass game. I think this might be one of the better games we see from the Eagles. And I'm going to take the Eagles in this one, like I said, 24-19.
24-19.
Yeah.
Big shout out. I got to give a big shout out to the homie Corey on the Warpath. Great show last night. The stream was lit. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys go subscribe to On the Warpath. Slapping Tables Corey is what they call him on the radio station when he be calling in because he be slapping tables. But dope stream, does a lot of dope content. So big shout out to him. I appreciate you stopping by, brother, for sure.
Big shout out Corey one time, y'all. Yeah, we need more Washington football team support up in here, man. We talked about that. I don't know what it is. My man Pat was telling me that like Juggy can't even find somebody to go to the Chargers game with him this Sunday. And I'm like, man, if we was in New York right now, I'm at every game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at half the games probably living down here in D.C. So, Washington, man, y'all need to get it together, man. I need that real support because you already know, man, Giants Nation, we in the building. We are in the building, Beard. Well, let's take it to this next one, man. Chargers, speaking of that and speaking of Juggy, Chargers are coming to FedEx Field on Sunday, man. This is going to be an interesting game. Another hard one to pick. Even though we got a preseason this year, man, it's still like we didn't get a preseason. I really don't got a grip on these teams. Like Washington hasn't really showed us much. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't really know how to judge how he's going to be moving in this offense. A couple little injuries in this game. Curtis Samuel being one of the main ones that you broke some news to me, too. You were saying that there might be a new injury with Curtis Samuel. What was that you were hearing?
I was just reading before we went on the air today. I was reading that there's some sort of talk about a possible soft tissue injury that he's had this entire time that they've really just kind of like kept like under wraps. So it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know where we're at right now with his health. I don't know if it's a groin. I don't know if it's, another muscle in the leg. I don't know, the soft tissue. I'm not really a doctor, but none of that stuff.
Not really a doctor. You ain't a doctor.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though. But you know what I'm saying. I'm not really sure exactly what the injury is. All I know is that we were talking about De'Ami Brown, and then how he could possibly have the most big plays for the Washington football team. And then next thing you know, I'm on Twitter and I see the clip. Samuel runs the first route at practice, takes his helmet off, comes up a little lame, goes to the sideline. He's working with the trainer. Same thing today, did not practice. So, I mean, I'm pretty much it would be an absolutely shell-shocked if Curtis Samuel dressed for this game.
I'm with you. I think that's Big Tigger in the basement. That's Rap City. I don't think we're going to see him on Sunday.
It's done. So, I mean, look, this game, to me, might be kind of sloppy. The Los Angeles Chargers didn't play any of their starters the entire preseason. Not like just like, a series here, a series there. They literally did not play the entire preseason.
And we know they're dealing with a major injury at running back with Austin Eckler. And he did practice today, but they said he wasn't in full contact practice.
Yeah, he was on the sideline.
He was on the sideline.
Yeah, working with the trainers. So Austin Eckler, you never know. But even if he doesn't play, they still have some pretty good depth at that position. Joshua Kelly. They also have, Justin Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they got some depth right there. Yeah, for sure. And then, offensively for Washington, we just talked about it. I think De'Ami Brown steps up in the absence of Curtis Samuel. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
I think that's a major thing for them, But I think more importantly, a more important matchup here is going to be these fronts. The hog mollies down there in the trenches is very important here. I talked about this with the Hub too on his channel a couple days ago as well about how you don't necessarily need a great offensive line to be able to move the sticks. The Chargers are a perfect example of that. Their offensive line was ranked 32nd by PFF, but their offense was ranked number 9 in the league. So Herbert is moving the ball. I know he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, especially when we're talking about youth and the up-and-comers. But, I think that one of the matchups that we definitely got to focus on here is going to be the Washington defensive line versus the Chargers offensive line. We got the last ranked offensive line from last year and pretty much the best front in football. That's what everybody's, calling y'all the best front in football. I even heard Max Kellerman say might be the best defense in the league. I'm think we need to pump the brakes here just a little bit. I know the statistics said y'all were the best pass defense throughout about 15 games last season, but I think we need to pump the brakes just a little bit. But what do you see in that matchup? How do you think Montez Sweat and Chase Young are going to fare against this, maybe poor offensive line with the Chargers?
Well, I think that it's interesting that you mentioned Montez Sweat because, Montez Sweat had a huge year last year and nobody's really talking about it. The fact that you have Montez Sweat and Chase Young, I mean, and the interior guys in between the two of them, it creates a lot of versatility on that front, which is what I think is one of their stronger points. The Chargers have 4 new offensive linemen this year. So it's going to be
interesting. They're trying to rebuild it at least.
Exactly. And one of them is a rookie as well. So I think if I'm Jack Del Rio, like I'm trying to throw as many different looks at that offensive line as possible. Because I think that, a young offensive line, a new offensive line, the best way to come and attack that is not to be the same, kind of mix things up a little bit. Move Chase, move Montez, have them swap sides, different blitzes here and there. So that's going to be the big key for me.
We saw a lot of that in the second half with the Washington football team last year too. I felt that in the beginning of the year, you were seeing a lot of Chase Young just trying to hit the edge, trying to show that he's got the speed and the power to hit the edge. But, throughout the second half of the season, you saw a lot of stunts. You saw Chase Young going inside, tackle going outside. And y'all got 4 first-rounders on that front. So we know. Now, when I say pump the brakes, I don't mean like y'all going to be some slouching and crazy like that.
I understand, but let's not anoint them just quite yet until we actually play football.
And Washington's got a tougher schedule this season, so I think it's going to be real tough. Now, on the other side of the ball here, your offensive line's got an interesting matchup too, because you guys got a rookie, I want to say left tackle, Sam Cosmi, who's going to be going up against Joey Bosa for most of the day. Now, how do you think he's going to fare, and do you think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a style quarterback that might be able to get rid of the ball fast enough and maybe not show the rookie inexperience from y'all at the left tackle position?
Well, so Cosmi and Leno, those are 2 new components on the offensive line for us this year. So it's really going to be, interesting to see. So I think Leno is playing left tackle and Cosmi is playing right tackle. If I'm
that's
not
what's going to happen in the game. On your depth chart, it's got Cosmi at left tackle.
Okay,
but you might be right. You might be right because they talked about the matchup against Bosa, and I was saying that I thought Bosa lined up on the opposite side.
So it'll be interesting to see how they perform. Obviously, like you're a rookie, you're coming into the league, you're playing tackle. You know all about that with Andrew Thomas last year. So it'll be interesting to see how they.
I thought you were saying I'm a tackle and I know all about that.
It'll be
damn well I wasn't no tackle.
How they can protect, Ryan Fitzpatrick. But I think a lot of that's going to come down to the play calling. Like you have to play, call the plays based upon what your players are capable of doing. So, don't go out there and throw the ball 40 times, like you got to mix it up a little bit so that they can get comfortable, because offensive linemen love to run block, more so than pass block. So like, let's run the ball a little bit, get them comfortable and engaging in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that way, the game kind of is not like as crazy as it would be because Los Angeles's defense
I still say that
is actually not that bad because the DBs, they got the new one, the rookie Asante Samuel Jr., who's going to be really good. And then Derwin James, who missed all of last year, is back. So
we know he's a baller.
You just got to watch that because that's going to be the big key there is just turning the ball over each side. Whoever can come in, it's simple. It's obvious. But, the turnovers in this game are going to be key, especially with Los Angeles not playing at all in the preseason and Washington not really even scoring a touchdown with the first team in the preseason at all. So, I like I said to start this whole thing off, I expect a semi-sloppy game here.
I feel you. I think the Chargers offense will definitely come out ready to go. But outside of that, it might be a bit of a sloppy game. This game here is one of the hardest to keep the correct etiquette and keep it PC here because, I want to say San Diego Chargers versus the Washington Redskins. It's kind of crazy. So we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Washington football team. I see that Lucas is in the chat asking about the link to the DraftKings. Is that something that we could have on here right now, or is that something that we can maybe link on Twitter later, or what you thinking on that?
Yeah, I'll send it out on Facebook and on Twitter as well. I'm going to try and see if I can put it in there right now for you too, Lucas, in the chat.
That's what's up, man. So y'all keep your eyes out. And I heard you mention a little bit about the running game with Washington being one of the keys to y'all, getting a victory here. And for me, I definitely think an X factor in this game is Antonio Gibson. He was banged up a bit last year. I can't remember how many games he missed, but you're looking at 795 yards on 170 rushes and 11 touchdowns. That's a fantastic season. I think the only thing for him is he's just got to stay healthy. And I like your backup over there. I always get his name wrong. J.D. McKissick,
yes.
Who can catch out of the backfield. you almost don't lose much. And this is kind of where, like, yo, I went to go revisit that thing that Nick Wright said, where he said Antonio Gibson is a replaceable running back, and he said Terry McLaurin is pretty much just a good wide receiver. And I really revisited that today. It's not as bad of a take as it first comes off as. Because Terry McLaurin does have a lot of room to grow. There are a lot of wide receivers that we would put ahead of him, I think, today even. I think even a guy like Julio Jones, who's coming off of a major injury but just has so much on the resume that you got to put him ahead of a guy like Terry McLaurin at this point. And then going back to Antonio Gibson being a replaceable running back, as you saw last year when he was out, McKissick came in and you almost didn't miss a beat. I think that Antonio Gibson is the better back. Don't get me wrong, but it's it kind of reminded me of Devonta Freeman and Wayne Gallman. Like, Devonta Freeman goes down, Wayne Gallman comes in. It's very serviceable. And I don't know if you would, maybe replaceable running back is the wrong word, but he's not the kind of running back that you feel like when he's out, the team is completely at a detriment and can't win the game like some of these other teams. Like if Minnesota loses Dalvin Cook, they're cooked. If the Titans lose Derrick Henry, that's really going to make their offense look a lot different. That's built upon, a bruiser style, with big wide receivers and a big running back. And there's a few others. I don't want to put him in the Raheem Mostert category, but he's somewhere around there. And we saw that even with San Francisco when Raheem went down, that they could replace him. But they do have a coach in Kyle Shanahan who's been known to be able to run the ball with plenty of different running backs. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think that with Antonio Gibson, his versatility is really what makes him, in my opinion, a special back. Because you have to remember also is that last year was basically his first year ever playing running back. He was a wide receiver in college for most of his career, and it's just that, so he can catch the ball, he can run routes. The explosiveness is also there as well. And the thing that's crazy is like he has a nose for the end zone. I mean, he had 11 touchdowns in 10 games as a rookie
and I feel
who's
like
never played running back
early in the year. Like he was just running up. I remember last season when you were like, he's sitting on like 7 or 8 touchdowns. I was like, well, really? Like that quickly? I mean, just out the gate had a bunch of touchdowns. So I hope he doesn't lose a beat. What was the injury? Was it an ankle last year? What was it?
Ooh, I don't remember exactly, but it was a lower leg injury.
That's an interesting one right there from Bart.
Because I think, and that's what I was going to say too, is that like obviously you made the point with the running backs that are not necessarily irreplaceable in Derrick Henry's, Dalvin Cook's,
Yeah.
But look at how the league is operating right now. Like you could be a star running back 1 year, and then 1 year, 2 years later, you might not even be in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that with so many people. I mean, even the situation with the Le'Veon Bell, who's going to get another opportunity, and I'm glad you highlighted that in Baltimore. Look at their running back situation with J.K. Dobbins. Came out the gate, and, I'd say, like, as a rookie, just looked like a veteran running back, especially when it became playoff time. He was just doing his thing. We're going to find out if he is a replaceable running back. And I think the other team we got to look at is the Los Angeles Rams with Cam Akers. Cam Akers was how they moved the ball in the playoffs. Outside of that offense looked pretty bad, especially to have 2 wide receivers like they do in Robert Woods and who's my other homie over there? They're like 1A, 1B, I feel like. Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I think they're 1A, 1B. But with Matthew Stafford coming in there, we're going to see how that goes. But Vegas has them at the same over-under for wins, which to me says they're not looking at high value with Matthew Stafford. They're looking at it like, okay, they might win one more game, maybe half a game over what they did with Goff. I think it might be a little bit different with Stafford in there, but it will show you if Cam Akers is a replaceable style running back. I think Gibson's right on the cusp, but he's very young. Got a lot more to prove before we find that out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's a lot of show and prove, and I think this is a completely different year than previous years past because Washington's not necessarily going into the season as the underdog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cannot remember in the last 10 years, maybe a little bit during the RG3 era, that Washington was actually in good graces of national media.
Yeah,
like
that's
they
true.
are this year.
And most people are either picking Washington or the Dallas Cowboys to win the division this year with Dak Prescott coming back. We talked about that on our last episode. If Dak coming back, in fact, makes them a first-place team, I don't know. We're going to have to see what that defense does. We'll get to that game in a little bit. But I think Washington is definitely in the mix. The only question mark is, can Ryan Fitzpatrick really do it? Can he get the ball to Terry McLaurin how he should? In 2 seasons, Terry McLaurin has balled out. Now, we talked about Darius Slayton was right there with Terry McLaurin after the rookie year. They were both pretty much eased into their role. They didn't ask Terry McLaurin to come in and necessarily be a number one until they realized what he could do. In 2 seasons, you got 2,037 yards, 145 catches, 14 yards per catch, and 11 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin is the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know if that is replaceable. I don't know if that is just good. We're talking about a guy entering his 3rd year. So to me, that looks like it's really good, on the cusp of being great. I just think the question mark now is, can Ryan Fitzpatrick really get it done? Ryan Fitzpatrick has been the kind of guy battling for starting jobs his whole career, and Tua didn't look great over there in Miami. And, that got Ryan Fitzpatrick some playing time late in games and got him to start some games. Played pretty decent, but like you said last episode, this might be the best roster that Ryan Fitzpatrick has ever played with.
For sure. Big shout out to Josh Latorre. Good chatting earlier. I'm Bleed Blue on Twitter. Big shout out to you, because I was telling Awthentik before we went live on the air, for me, it's always dope when you can have like a debate, a conversation, a back and forth on Twitter with somebody, and it like be like, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no like going at people's throats and like not being open to other people's, ideas, thoughts, and opinions, because that's what it's all about. It's about, like being able to open your mind to the possibility that, hey, you might not always be right. You know what I'm saying?
Big
and
facts.
obviously,
and being
like,
able to take a joke here and there too, because I know I see it with Pizzle on Twitter sometimes, right? When he calls some of these content creators a geek, it like really gets under their skin. But it's like, we just talking football, man. At the end of the day, we're just talking football. Half the people that we're talking to, we barely know who they are. So at the end of the day, nobody should get offended or anything like that. We just chopping up talking football. And that was a really good conversation we had with Bleed Blue. That was on a response to your prediction, not even your prediction, your assessment, saying that Ryan Fitzpatrick has the best weapons at his disposal in the NFC East. And are you dying on that shield still?
Yeah.
Even after
I don't know.
they was coming for you on Twitter.
I think I kind of, like, not necessarily backtracked, but I gave it like a 1A, 1B with Dallas. You know what I'm saying?
You Euro stepped it. You James Harden did a little bit. Yeah. All right, man. Well, with that said, man, we're almost at the 45-minute mark here.
Yep.
I think I know where you're going with this game, but give me a prediction on, a score and also who you think is going to get the W in this game.
So another game, back and forth. My heart, my mind, my soul. But I'm going to go with the Washington football team in a sloppy game.
Your mind's telling you no, but your body's telling you.
I'm going to go with a sloppy game. I'm going to go with the Washington football team coming out with a victory. We are at home. They're traveling all the way from the West Coast. 4 new offensive linemen, no preseason. I'm going to go with Washington by a final score of 20-17.
20-17. Okay, you keeping it conservative just a little bit. I like the score. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one. I'm taking a lot of risk this first week. I'm going to go with the Chargers, and I think it's going to be a little ugly. I'm going to go 31-13. And the Beard told me he's keeping track of the scores all the way throughout the year this year. Ain't no sloppy stuff. But Scotty was got him missing them last.
Who'd you pick in the Philly-Atlanta game?
I picked Philly to win that one 24-19.
So we're opposite already on both games.
We already opposite, man, but you know what it is, man. Awthentik and The Beard. Left side.
Strong side.
We in the building one time. If it's your first time joining our show, man, and you aren't already, make sure you hit that sub button and hit that bell button on the bottom. I want to say it's like right there somewhere. Hit that bell, man, and definitely check us out, man. We're going to be doing content all year long. Tuesdays, we'll be doing recaps from the previous week's game. Thursdays, we'll be doing previews of the games to come for that week. Don't forget, Sundays, we do the parlay. The parlay is my show. That's our fantasy vibes. That one's super lit. And we're going to be adding a couple other shows. We're going to add a show on Wednesday, and the Beard's got some ideas for some shows, too. So Washington football team fans, New York Giants fans, you already know we in the building one time. Make sure to tune in And stay locked with Awthentik and The Beard, man. We're going to be giving y'all the real assessment of what the football season is going to be. We're not going to be pessimists. We're not going to be optimists, but we're going to keep it authentic, and we're going to be realist, and we're going to keep it realistic here.
I see what you did there. You switched it up a little bit.
You like that, right? I'm just changing them up, man.
Change the tenses on them.
Isms. The isms on them, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I mean, let's get into the game we all been waiting for here, man. I'm hype about this one right here, man. This one should be a really good one. This one should be a really good one, man. Giants Nation, we in the building one time, man. Y'all know Broncos are coming to MetLife Stadium. I went to MetLife for the first time, man, in the summer for FanFest. Maybe we'll run that video one more time, but we can't milk that too much. I know the edit fire, but we ain't going to milk it too much. A lot of injuries coming into this game, and I think that's the question mark for all Giants fans across the country is these injuries. I actually was just informed about this one yesterday that wide receiver John Ross is on the IR with a hamstring injury dating back from last season. Our draft pick, Ellerson Smith, on IR. Tight end Evan Ingram has a calf injury. Kyle Rudolph has been at practice, so I'm looking forward to seeing him play. But before that, like I told y'all, he was looking like a coach in the khakis. What up, PTA? How you living, man? Giants Nation in the building one time. Kenny Galladay's coming in with the hamstring injury that he tweaked early on in the offseason there. I think that was around preseason game 1 or preseason game 2. We know about Saquon Barkley coming off the horrendous knee injury last year. Adoree Jackson's coming in with an ankle injury. This is kind of crazy, man. These are a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite a list.
This is quite a list, man. Adoree Jackson with the ankle, but, everybody's expecting Adoree to be good out there and be, at least be able to start this game. Hopefully that doesn't give many issues. Aaron Robinson is out. I forget what that injury is. I think that might be an ankle as well. Danny Shelton is going to be questionable. Cornerback Josh Jackson that we just traded for, who came over from the Packers, he's questionable. And Andrew Thomas was on the injury report today. I thought that was kind of interesting. But Andrew Thomas is going to have to play in this game, and we know why, because we got Bradley Chubb on the other end, who might not play in this game, but we also got Von Miller. So their pass rush is going to be crazy. I think that one of the biggest weaknesses for the Giants coming out of preseason is that offensive line. Everybody was just like losing their mind about the offensive line. I'm about 50-50. I do think that it is an issue when you see your team in preseason looking like straight garbaggio on the offensive front. It is something to worry about because we're playing football. I know it's preseason. These games don't count, but, this is where we're supposed to be working and getting better. The Broncos, like I said, they got Bradley Chubb questionable with the ankle. He also was dealing with the legal issue where he missed court. I don't think that should be that big of an issue. I think the ankle will probably be the more thing that we should look forward to. But Giants should be prepared to play against a healthy front here. Also, Noah Fant comes into this game questionable with the knee injury. He was limited in practice. And Michael Ojemudia, who was probably one of their better cornerbacks last year. He had 55 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles, and 6 pass deflections. He's on the IR with a hamstring injury. But we know the Broncos brought in a lot of help in the secondary with they drafted Surtain over there, who they're looking for him to be a guy day one, which it doesn't scare me because the Giants tried that just last season or the season before that with DeAndre Baker, and DeAndre Baker was getting exposed out there, and he was supposed to be a guy who had never given up touchdowns in college and only 2 completions and blah, 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 and then he's out here robbing a barbecue. I don't care what nobody said. He was robbing that barbecue. I keep 100 until I get to meet you, DeAndre Baker. I got to judge you off the character I saw from the interviews. Man. I'm pretty sure you was out there robbing the barbecue. You and that ex-Redskin. What was homie's name? Quentin
Dunbar.
Quentin Dunbar. Yeah, y'all fools out here. First day out the pandemic, y'all want to go try to play some Madden and then go rob some people. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But the way you say though, rob the barbecue.
Yeah, they robbing the barbecue. Oh, don't nobody say that barbecue like you say that barbecue.
The barbecue.
But Broncos, I know a lot of Giants fans think that this could be not an easy game, but they're looking at this as a W on the schedule. I mean, the Broncos did finish 5-11, last place in the AFC West last season. The Broncos, this was an interesting stat for me, and I hope I don't jinx it with this. Their coach, what's my man's name? Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangelo.
He's never won in September. 7 games, he's 0-7.
That's not good.
That's not good. So, earlier when we were breaking down the schedule, that was on Sunday, I had picked the Broncos to win this game because I just think the Broncos defense is going to be pretty tough to stop. And also offensively, I think that they're pretty slept on, They're the favorites in this game from last that I checked. Now, last night I was up till about 5 in the morning. I don't know who this dude is, but he's a new dude on YouTube with only about 2,000 subscribers on his channel. He's got the best film breakdowns I ever seen. This dude, like, I know my football pretty well, but when this dude was breaking down like route concepts, when he was breaking down personnel concepts, man, I almost felt like he was speaking German to me, like literally breaking it down, man. And he has great tape on Daniel Jones if you want to see it. I'll make sure to put the link in the comment section of this video by the time we sign off. He has a great one of Daniel Jones and with Mac Jones in the preseason game where he just breaks down a couple of like key plays in that game that show you why Mac Jones got the start outside of all the other off-the-field issues that Cam Newton was bringing to New England. And I loved his breakdown on Daniel Jones. I thought it was amazing. He also did a breakdown on Teddy Bridgewater, and he showed 2 throws why Teddy Bridgewater got the job. Both throws were 3-level concepts. Play action out of the 3-level concept where pretty much you're taking 3 routes and flooding one side of the field on 3 different levels. So you got somebody in the flat, somebody in the intermediate level, and somebody deep. And Teddy Bridgewater was just making fantastic throws, stepping up in the pocket, man, like I don't normally see from Teddy Bridgewater. I think that this Denver Broncos offense can be really slept on. And I don't know who the coordinator is over there, but these plays that he was calling, he had some great vertical concepts in their preseason game. It was 2 preseason games they were breaking down. Some really awesome vertical concepts, and I like the play-action concepts that they're running over there, too. If they can find a way to run the ball on us, I think the Giants are really going to be in trouble. And I think that, like, this kind of goes back to, like, a metaphor that I wanted to relate back to a movie director, right? Like, if you got Quentin Tarantino directing the film, all the actors going to look better, right? But if you got Pat Shurmur directing the film, all the actors might look worse.
That's who the coordinator is.
And in this case, it is Pat Shurmur. It is Pat Shurmur. Now, I used him as an example. Maybe Pat Shurmur's got a good movie in the cut. I don't know. You know, maybe he's got a good script in the cut. But a good director can make a decent actor look really great. And I think that's what the Broncos are trying to do with Teddy Bridgewater. He's safe. And he made a couple of, like, risky throws, but he's safe. And I think the risky throws kind of won him the job. Now, let's look at this this Denver Broncos wide receiver core that I also think is slept on. Now, we know one of these wide receivers from their roster last year was playing quarterback in one of these games when the COVID situation hit all of their quarterbacks. They had to put out all – I thought that was unfair to the Broncos, too, by the way, how they forced them –
they did it. Apparently it came out because they were trying to scheme the system. They like took off their tracking devices and was sitting in the same room in different corners of the room and like tried to take off their tracking devices. So yeah, it was kind of schemy. So I think that's why.
Maybe they deserved it. You remember that scene in the Little Giants when Ed O'Neill and his little assistant coach on the offensive line, they was in the bushes with the binoculars trying to spy on us and whatnot. So yeah, if you cheating, bro, then yeah, you definitely deserve it. I thought that was interesting that they had a wide receiver at quarterback regardless, right? But their wide receiver core is pretty solid. Jerry Jeudy is one of the people who, you know, of the rookies who came out and he started balling. 52 catches for 856 yards, 3 touchdowns. That, you know, the touchdowns are pretty modest, but that's solid out of a guy like that. And then KJ Hamler, who you were high on KJ Hamler last year. I remember during the parlay speaking a lot of good vibes on KJ Hamler. 30 catches for 381 yards, 3 touchdowns. We know Noah Fant was Noah Fant was their leading wide receiver last year with 62 catches and 673 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I think it's very important that Noah Fant is healthy coming into this game. Maybe that injury riddles him a little bit, slows him down. That's something that the Giants can hope for. But looking at the Giants' concepts in the preseason, and I don't want to judge too much on the preseason, but it was a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3, where our safeties weren't making the right reads and the right decisions as far as leverage goes. You know, when you get 4 verticals coming at you as a safety, you have to quickly read which side has the leverage. So if the side to your right has a wide receiver from the slot who may have a step on the first cornerback who's covering, you got to roll that side immediately. A quarterback's job in the 4 vertical system is to look off the safety one way and then go back the other way. So as a safety, you know, Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, Xavier McKinney, they're going to have to be able to make these reads fast because from what I'm seeing from studying the Broncos in the preseason, they ran a lot of 4 verticals, and they made it very easy for Teddy Bridgewater to either go to the seam that was coming from the slot or to go to the comeback if the corners on the outside gave the cushion. So I'm not sleeping on this Broncos offense. we know what the defense is going to bring to the table. This is going to be a tough game. I'm looking for the Giants to score around 20 if they want to try to win this game and make it ugly. You know, we got to get to the quarterback, put some pressure on the quarterback. Leonard Williams is very important that he starts off the season on a good note and ends the season on a good note. We kind of saw him tail off a little bit towards the end of last season as far as the sacks go. And I'm looking for all these people on the front line to just step up. Let's be more aggressive. With Lorenzo Carter coming back to the Giants healthy this year, I want to see him take that step into that role to be that guy that the Giants know they got to sign going into when it's time to renew his contract. And O'Shane Ximines, same exact thing. These guys can be really good edge rushers out of the 3-4 defense, and I think they're going to be very important for the Giants to get a win in this game. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Another this is like when we were talking about the wide receivers for Denver, it's just like it's crazy because you totally forget about Cortland Sutton, who, you know, was injured all of last year, and like he's coming, you know, looking to come back and make a statement year. And then they also got Tim Patrick. They got a really deep, you know, wide receiving core. But one of the biggest things I think that you touched on offensively for the Denver Broncos is how effective are they going to be running the ball? Okay, so you're going. Melvin Gordon is the guy there right now, you know. But everybody's kind of talking about the young bull, Javonte Williams, out of the University of North Carolina. You know,
a lot of people think he's gonna take that job.
Exactly. They let Philip Lindsay walk. So
why do you think they let Philip Lindsay walk?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I know Jimmy's in the chat, old school flips. I'm sure, you know, he's a Denver Broncos fan, so I'm kind of curious to do. I'm assuming it probably had something to do with, you know, money, and I don't know if they let him walk before they drafted Javonte Williams.
He's same year as Saquon Barkley, right? So first round contracts get the extension, right?
I don't think he was a first round.
He wasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because Saquon's going to be going into his signing year next year for the extension, I believe.
Jimmy says they were concerns about his durability.
He was a good back and put up some good numbers.
He was, because he was explosive, you know, like, so that's going to be interesting because Melvin Gordon's, you know, he's not the same Melvin Gordon that he once was in those few years when he was playing for the Chargers. You know, that's clear. But
what makes you think that? What makes you think that? Injuries, or
just the tread on the tires, you know, and then the year off. Like, listen, I don't even know if it was a whole year, but it was a good amount of time that he held out, you know. And we saw what happened with Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell ain't been the same since he held out neither. Like, you know, like
that was a whole year holdout.
Yeah, because I remember
he
came back because Patrick. Remember, Patrick kept getting excited because he was coming back. But just you know, like, it's just how things have, you know, progressed over the last few years for him. Because I used to look at him at one point in time as a top 5 running back in the NFL.
Yeah,
there was a time when he was a top 5 running back in the NFL. He's just not that anymore. Not saying that he can't be a good, maybe even great running back, because his numbers weren't bad in a bad situation last year at Denver, you know, a split carry backfield situation. But I just, you know, that running game is going to be the difference between a win and a loss against the New York Giants. You know,
now what about the flip side of the running game? What are you expecting out of Saquon Barkley?
That's where I was going to go, is that, like, I think that's one of the biggest things that we're looking at this game is obviously not even just how does Saquon Barkley look, but how much of Saquon Barkley are we going to see? You know, like, I know that there was a time when we were like, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I was like, Saquon needs 20 carries a game. You know, and I've heard you talk about how, like, that's not necessarily the case anymore right now.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I've always thought that Saquon Barkley's carries should be limited, and you should use him like, not like how you use like a specialty kind of player, you know, like, or like a gimmick player or anything like that, or like a gadget player is more the word I was looking for. But, like, you know, treat him like a number 1 running back, but also have that second guy who could take some carries to make it where, like, Saquon's not just like pounding at the front of the line trying to break the big play. You know, for me, you know, even coming back off the injury, I think it should be somewhere around 12 to 14 carries. You know, maybe I don't want to see him go over like 16 touches. You know, I'd like to see them keep the carries low and maybe try to involve him in the passing game on some checkdowns. Daniel Jones has got to figure out how to check down the ball this year and do it quickly. You know, I talked about that in the film breakdown that I showed you. It's like, if you're not going to get the guy crossing across your face early and get the ball out quickly, then you got to learn how to check it down quickly so you can be able to at least salvage some of these plays and get a couple of yards out of them, you know?
And that's the last thing, you know, for me that I will touch on, you know, for the Giants in this game is, I've talked about it so far on, you know, both the 2 previous episodes that we've been live this season. And that's, you know, I'm really looking at Jason Garrett, because Jason Garrett to me is the key to Daniel Jones' progression, the key to Saquon. And they kind of are all intertwined together, you know, and Galladay also, obviously, you know, because that's your big offseason acquisition. So how is he going to change the look of the offense, Kenny Galladay? And then it's like, how comfortable is Daniel Jones going to be in the pocket? You know, how is Saquon going to bounce back? Now, how is Jason Garrett going to call the game? How is he going to, you know, change the way that things were before to now? Like, I want to see, is there going to be a difference in the game plan? Is going to be a difference in the way that the game is being called? Like, how is he going to put all these parts together? To me, that's something that I've kind of been, you know, looking forward to seeing, because, you know, like, I've never been a Daniel Jones hater. I've always kind of, you know, stuck up for him in to a certain extent. And I just want to be able to see what he can do with Saquon, with a top-tier receiver, everybody healthy on the field at one time for more than one game. You know, so, like, I'm just kind of curious to see if Jason Garrett's going to be able to utilize that.
Yeah, and I think this is almost like a second-half adjustment. You know, it's like you've seen what this offense can do when you have a healthy Saquon Barkley and you know what your quarterback is capable of. I broke this down a little bit on our last show, too. Like, Daniel Jones has pretty much been the exact same quarterback for 2 years, except in year 2, he cleaned up the turnovers a little bit more. But in doing that, in cleaning up the turnovers, he threw a lot less touchdowns. You know, but you look at the yards, you look at the completions, you look at the completion percentage, you look at the attempts, you look at the way he ran the ball as a quarterback, it's all pretty much the same as he did the season before that. So I think we know what we're going to get out of Daniel Jones. Now, with a guy like Kenny Galladay, he brings that X factor, and I use the word X factor because, shout out to Des Bryant one time. That's exactly the kind of wide receiver that Jason Garrett needs. You know, he needs that big guy where when something goes wrong, Daniel Jones will be able to throw a one-on-one 50-50 pass to a guy like Kenny Galladay, who will give you a great chance at those 50-50 passes. And all these other weapons that we've added to the offense, you know, I'm so excited to see what Kadarius Toney can do in this offense. Seeing him in his press conference yesterday, the kid looks very confident. He's hilarious during these press conferences. I just love his whole swagger and his hood vibe about him. He's like, I am me, and I'm not going to change. Yeah, I was tweeting a couple things about that, you know, but a lot of this does fall on the shoulders of Daniel Jones. And if you look at Daniel Jones' first 2 years, in every statistic category, passing-wise, he had a better first 2 years than Josh Allen, who Josh Allen is a guy now that I think if you don't got Josh Allen in at least your top 10, you're wilding, right? Like, after that first, you know, after his third season here, he had a epic third year with Stephon Diggs. Now, they got him the weapons that he needed, and they also drafted Gabriel Davis, who I think is an awesome wide receiver number 2 out there as well. If the Bills find a way to run the ball, if the Bills had a Saquon Barkley over there, it'd be ridiculous. You know, so I'm looking at the Giants kind of in a similar fashion. Like, Daniel Jones has been the kind of guy who's been above 63% completion percentage for the most part. That's his career kind of vibe, around 63%, somewhere in between there. You know, and you're bringing back a healthy Saquon Barkley. Hopefully, that's what we hope. You know, you don't want to put this guy on the field and he's still banged up and the knee's not 100%. I saw him cutting. It looks good. And added a bunch of chess pieces as well. So Garrett now, all the excuses that everybody was making for Daniel Jones last season, he's got no weapons, he's got no weapons, he's got no weapons. We need to give Garrett those same excuses from last year as well. He had no weapons, right? Yeah. Now you got the weapons in play. We're hoping that the money is well spent. Kenny Galladay comes in, he's making $17 million a year. It's a 4-year contract. I want to say it's $70-something million. Like, you got to play up to that contract. Everything I saw from Kenny Galladay from the highlights from Detroit look amazing. He's a great pass catcher when it comes to catching the ball in traffic. He can go up against these smaller kind of cornerbacks and do his thing. I'm looking for him to have a monster season and do damage. Like, I don't see why he shouldn't do damage, you know? He looks to be healthy now. I'm glad they rested him when they realized he tweaked the hamstring. So weapon-wise, it's looking good. The last question mark is this offensive line. Nate Solder got the start at right tackle for now is what we're hearing, which I think is the right decision. I think Nate Solder might be the best tackle offensively on this team. Andrew Thomas has still struggled. I talked about this also with the Hub. The reason why Andrew Thomas is struggling is because at left guard, we got a bunch of bums playing left guard. You know, so Daniel Jones is dropping back 9 yards, and you got a bum at left guard. If you look at Nate Solder when he was in New England, all he did was just take a step back and push people to his left. Tom Brady stepped up, get rid of the ball in 3 seconds. Tom Brady's never getting sacked. I don't care who the O-line is for Tom Brady. Tom Brady ain't taking hits. So Daniel Jones needs to take a page out of that book, tighten up the drop back. Just tighten it up a little bit. Get everything a little bit snugger, you know, and just get it tight. So that way your tackle he has a less of a strenuous job trying to drop back 6 yards and then figure out if this defender is going to beat him to the inside or trying to shave him and push him outside. You know, I think that's very important. So left guard, we picked up Ben Bredeson from the Ravens. I don't know what he's going to do. You know, I'll keep it 100 with y'all. Like, I'm not a guy who sits here and looks at offensive line like that. Shout out to Bobby from Talking Giants, because he seems to be one of the people in the Giants community that literally is just like focused on offensive line breakdown, which I think we need that in this community, you know, and that's a great thing for us. But for me, I'm looking at the skill positions. Every position for the Giants checks the box to me now. Wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, we know what Sterling Shepard does. And then depth-wise, we got a bunch of depth guys that can come in and fill that role really well. I like what I saw out of Dante Pettis. Running back, I like what I'm seeing out of all 3 running backs. We know what Saquon Barkley can do. We know that Booker had some success last year with the Raiders. If you look at the statistics, he played fairly well and had a couple touchdowns on the book.
And he looked good in preseason also for you guys.
And he looked pretty good in preseason. Gary Brightwell, you know, I like the way he runs. A lot of people saying he could be like a Paul Perkins. I think he's more of a downhill runner than a Paul Perkins. And I like what he can do in the passing game. So offensively, the boxes are checked. Offensive line, question mark, right? But I think that we can relate this back to the Chargers and Washington football team game. I talked about Justin Herbert. Last ranked offensive line, 9th ranked offense. If your quarterback is out here making plays, playing loose, and Herbert looks like a kid out there, you know, I always think of that touchdown that he scored where he's like, I was in. He sounds like someone's nephew. Like, I was in. He's like complaining, you know, like sounds like a really young kid. So I just want Daniel Jones to come out here, play loose. I've been talking about this since day one. Like, they're trying to teach you things that are going to make you a better quarterback, like staying in the pocket, hanging in the pocket, stepping up in the pocket, being able to throw the ball away. You know, that's very important for Daniel Jones. But I think most importantly is, like, play loose, man. Play with some swag. Play like you know you're going to make the play. Don't play like you know you about to fumble. And I forget who I think it was. No, it's not Brian Cox. It might be – no, it's not Booger McFarland either. But they were like, yo, they said Daniel Jones got them Burger King hands. I was like, what? Like they were like the king, like they so little that he can't hold on to the ball, man. So, like, Daniel Jones, man, just I need you to get it together. When I talked to Peter Rosenberg said when he met Daniel Jones in person, he was like, oh, yeah, when you shake his hand, that's a quarterback. So I'm looking for Daniel Jones to step up and be a quarterback. Defensively, we know we're going to kind of get we're all eyeing that weak side corner, you know, to see what Adoree Jackson can do, what he can do. But, like, Xavier McKinney, Jabril Peppers, Logan Ryan, James Bradbury, Blake Martinez, we got some names out here, man. We got some players. This defense should be a top 10 defense.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a player that'll play with a lot more confidence. And he came in for like the last 5 games, and he got himself an interception, man. So that shows you that he's a bit of a ball hawk. So with that said, I want to flip-flop on this one now. It's like I get on air and the pride kicks in, you know? But I'm going to stick to the script with the schedule, because if you looked at our predictions for the year, I'll pull these up here for you right now. I have the Giants finishing the year at 9-8 and winning the division. The Beards got Washington football team finishing at 10-7, winning the division. But we're like pretty close here within a couple of games. You know, Max Kellerman picked Washington to go 10-7 too, and I was like, damn, I was looking at the Beard kind of crazy, like 10-7. What? I was giving them all that, you know, neck popping and crazy and whatnot. But you could be right on this. Now, I think we're not. One of us is not going to be that far off. The Eagles, I could give them 1 or 2 wins here, but those were our picks. And I'm going to stick with my gut on this one, man. So as far as the Broncos Giants game goes, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be tough. it won't surprise me if the Giants get the dub, and I think it is important. I think Joe Judge is instilling this in the team that we need to get off to a good start this year. The Giants have been 0-2, I want to say, 9 times out of the last 10 seasons or something like that. You know, it's important that we get a W here because then we got a short week that we're going to have to go to Washington and play you guys here at FedEx. We know we're playing against 2 of the best fronts in the NFL right now. It's important that the Giants get a win here, but I'm going to take the Broncos in this game, in an ugly game where the offense still is struggling to kind of get things going. And I think a lot of that has to do with the injuries and chemistry that is going to be built between a guy like Galladay and Daniel Jones. So it's the first game of the year. I know Giants fans don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say the Giants lose this game in a heartbreaker. I'm going to say it'll be, let's see, I'm going to go with 17-13 Broncos.
I almost flip-flopped on this game.
I really want to.
I almost picked the Giants to win. But I said, you know what? I need to see Saquon in action before I'm ready to start. Like, this is the first week, guys. Like, it's going to be difficult to pick these games. You know, you don't really know anything. We're going to start to find out tonight. But I think it's going to be a close game also. I do have Denver winning this game by a final score of 21-17.
21-17. Okay, man. Don't forget to write down that score. We got to keep track of these all year long. Maybe we'll put a prize on the line, or maybe we'll put like something embarrassing on the line. We got to put something on the line here. But yeah, I really wanted to flip-flop on this game. And my gut wants the Giants to win, but I'm just going to pick this one just like you said. I need some proof, man. I really want to see what we can do before I say we can do it. You know, and Saquon Barkley is a major question mark injury-wise. Kenny Galladay, for me, it's just that he wasn't there for a lot of the preseason. They really only got those warm-ups, down in Arizona in the summer to really throw and get some chemistry built between Daniel Jones and Kenny Galladay. And the first week of preseason, you get the hamstring injury. So there hasn't been a lot of chemistry. They're going to have this last week, but it won't surprise me, man, if like Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay go off. If the Giants are like hitting at all cylinders or on all cylinders, right, then my score is going to be like 31-19 Giants. Because this offense should be high-powered when everything is clicking. If Saquon could get out here and get like 75 yards, yeah, Galladay out here getting a couple catches and whatnot, yeah, I think that the Giants are going to take this game. But as far as picking it, until I get some proof, I'm going to pick the Broncos in this game because I think the Broncos are slept on, and I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the person who's going to be reading faster in this game over Daniel Jones to just get to the start of the season, and then Daniel Jones will get his feet wet and hopefully, be striding in a couple of weeks here.
Yep, it's gonna be an interesting one to watch, and they're not playing at the same time as Washington, so we get to watch. In full.
Oh yeah. That's always a good thing. I was kind of upset that here in our market, they're playing the what game was that they're playing at 4? Because y'all are on Channel 9 at 1:00, and they got the Packers Rams. I want to say is
Packers Saints. I think
Packers Saints. Yeah, is the 4:00 game here. So, yeah, it's going to be unfortunate. I'm going to have to stream that game. But, yeah, y'all know what it is. If you don't know about the streams, NFLBite.com. I will plug that. Yeah, if you ever need a stream for something, definitely check them out. You didn't hear it from me, allegedly. You didn't hear it from me. But definitely check them out, man. All right, man. So we got one more game. And time-wise, we looking good, The Beard. We're looking really good on time right now.
We got 8 minutes until kickoff. So, look. We're here, Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup.
I mean, listen, it's almost like you're looking for a lot of the same things that you were looking for in that Giants game. All the eyes are on Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? We know
Definitely
what Tampa Bay is bringing back all their starters, the first time ever in free agency history to win a Super Bowl and bring back all 22 starters, which is just unfair. Tampa Bay has the best salary cap person in the entire National Football League. That's a fact. Now,
that's a fact.
So I think everybody's kind of looking at Dak Prescott because, Dak Prescott started off last year and quite possibly was like, for 4 games in, like, hey, this guy might be an MVP quarterback, and then Zeke had an off year, and then CeeDee Lamb, though, was a bright spot for that Dallas team. He really showed that he was ready for the NFL and ready to be a big-time player. Now, the defense as Awthentik has said already twice this year, that was historically bad.
Yeah, one of the worst defenses in NFL history. I think they were the second worst ever.
So it's kind of, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to see, not only is Dak's ankle okay,
right?
Is Dak's arm okay?
Yeah, is that shoulder going to be good?
And I think the only other thing that you could say that we're looking for is, how good is Tampa Bay going to be this year?
And
can
I
Tampa
think that's
Bay
a
go
really
undefeated?
good question. Like Tampa Bay, and this is just me, I feel like they're a little bit, I know they won the Super Bowl, but I feel like because they won the Super Bowl, now the hype got extra. They're getting that Kansas City Chiefs kind of hype that Kansas City had coming into last season.
For
you
sure.
know, because they won the Super Bowl. So for me, it's like you never really know. We can't forget the Bucs lost to the Bears last season. That's a bad team. I know they were still trying to get things clicking, trying to get things rolling, but lost to the Bears.
They were only, what, 9-7 in the regular season, right? Tampa Bay was?
Either 9-7 or 10-6, because y'all won the division and the Bucs snuck in as the wild card. That's why y'all played them in the first round.
Yeah.
So it's like they're a beatable team. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Cowboys hang around at least in this game, especially if Dak Prescott can come out and play like a healthy Dak Prescott. I mean, last season in the 5 games Dak Prescott played, he was on pace to throw for 6,500 yards. Call it garbage time if you want. That would be crazy. So a quarter of the year, he was straight frying. I remember him and Russell Wilson, they got off to a crazy start. Now, they were still losing games. If you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they were 1-3 entering the Giants game where he broke his ankle. And look, don't forget, I saw this when I was watching a lot of stuff on Undisputed 2 when they were breaking it down about last season. Remember when they played Atlanta? They pretty much lost the game, and then they had that onside kick that they kicked, and everyone from Atlanta kind of just ran away from the ball.
Oh,
and the Cowboys went and just scooped it up, and then they went and scored and won the game. So really the Cowboys could have been 0-4. And remember, I had predicted them to start off 0-4.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and then they go into New York where we were kind of in control of that game. I felt like we were looking at a victory right there. And then all of a sudden when Dak went out the game, I feel like the Cowboys kind of used that as motivation, and their defense started stepping up, and then they ended up taking care of the Giants. But you're looking at a team that your quarterback's on pace to throw for 6,500 yards, and y'all could have been 0-4. Which is kind of crazy. It kind of tells you about that defense. So with that defense, are they going to – they're not going to be as bad as they were last season. It's not possible. They've made some upgrades. They drafted Parsons, who a lot of people think is going to be a stud. Shout out to my homie Miz. He thinks Parsons is the person that the Giants should have drafted, and he thinks Parsons is just a straight beast. So they made upgrades. They also brought in a new defensive coordinator. They brought in Dan Quinn from the Atlanta Falcons, who he was having trouble with Atlanta as well. When, if you remember, he got fired, I want to say it was mid-season. It was mid-season. And when he got fired, the problem was he was scared to blitz. And then, what's my man's name? Raheem Morris ended up taking the job, right? And with the same personnel, they started blitzing.
Pretty good, yeah.
Their defense made a turn immediately when Dan Quinn left. Now, Dan Quinn comes from having a lot of talent. When he was in Seattle, Legion of Boom, where you could do that. You got safeties back there laying people out. You got one of the best defenses maybe in the history of the NFL. So does he have the personnel to be able to make this defense execute well enough to be able to, keep Tampa Bay at bay and allow this Dallas Cowboys offense to be able to do what they do and put some points on the board? If you allow Tampa Bay to get over 30, though, I think this game is a wrap. I don't see the Cowboys winning this game 34-30 or nothing crazy like that. And we know offensively, Dallas is going to have some trouble. This Tampa Bay Bucs defense, I saw something interesting too on Max Kellerman. It's Max Kellerman who's got the new show with Keyshawn Johnson and Jason Williams. Yesterday I said it was Greenberg. I was wrong on that.
Yeah.
And they were talking about was Keyshawn Johnson's Bucs team better than this Bucs team? And they talked about the defense. Keyshawn Johnson was saying, well, look, man, there's 6 potential Hall of Famers on the defense that we had when I played. And then they were like, well, what about offensively? They had Brad Johnson, Keenan McCardell, Keyshawn Johnson. We can't compare that to this offense here. But this Tampa Bay defense, they should not be slept on. Now, they're not that defense from 2002 or whatever that was with the Bucs. They're not that same defense, but they shouldn't be slept on. I forget the young boy who was the rookie last season at free safety or strong safety. What's my man's name? Came into the playoffs banged up. Somebody in the chat will give me his name. But he was playing lights out football. I mean, he was playing comparable football with Honey Badger, if you ask me. Oh, yeah, and there was that, Lax. Yeah, there was that. There was definitely that. And
Shout out to Laxo404 with a $4.99 super chat. Says the refs also took 11 points off the board for the Giants in the first game against Dallas last year.
Yeah, it was a fake punt. I want to say remember the fake punt they called? It was a fake punt or fake field goal that they called back.
Yeah,
there was that, and another one that got called back. So that's true. But now, as far as this Bucs defense, okay, linebacker wise, they got some of the best linebackers in the game. Shaq Barrett. You got JPP, Vita Vea. Dog, this defense is legit. They had 48 sacks in 2020. Thank you for that. It was Antoine Winfield, who I'm a big fan of him, man. He's going to be a really good player to be messed with for years to come.
And he was a rookie.
Right. And he leader of that defense as far as, with the back four on that defense. He was the leader of that defense. I think the Cowboys are going to have way too much trouble with this Bucs defense. I definitely think that. But if they want to, find a way or a lane that they can excel in, I think it will be run the ball on first down and make sure you're getting positive yards on first down. You do not want to have Dak Prescott in 2nd and 12, 2nd and 14, 3rd and 12, none of that, right? And get to manageable third downs, and you can beat this Bucs defense. The one thing about this Bucs defense that was not that great last year was on third down. How many the conversion percentage of other teams on third down? They were 17th in the league. Teams were converting on 41% of third downs on the Bucs. And if you remember in the beginning of the year, that defense was not as good as they finished. They finished really strong. JPP and the rest of those boys had a great run in the playoffs, and now all Giants fans are like, why y'all let go of JPP? But before that, nobody really cared when he was blowing fireworks off his hands. Everybody was like, get him out of here. JPP has had a resurgence to his career. He's looking really good over there. Can't forget about Levante David, Devin White. They've really stacked up this defense. The secondary is probably the weaker part of their defense, and it's still really, 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 really good. So Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, they got to get positive yards on first down. And then I think all eyes on Dan Quinn. We got to see what he can do. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and give you a score in this game, and I'm going to give you my prediction because we're 8-21. We're getting close to kickoff, and we do want to get to those prop bets and all that stuff we had lined up. I'm going to take the Bucs in this game convincingly because all these little things that the Cowboys need to do to win, I don't see it happening. I'm going to say the over-under was 52 on this when I looked last, so I'm taking
52.5.
We going to get there, The Beard. We going to get there, right?
I've been waiting to hear that.
You've been waiting for that, right?
Long.
We going to get there. And I'm going to take the Bucs in this game. I'm going to say they're going to be so convincingly in the driver's seat that they won't get to 40, but I'm looking at 36-18, 30. Let's go 36-17 Bucs.
Not too far off from what I have. Now, everybody's good. Listen, the last thing I want is Dallas to win this game because if Dallas wins this game, that's a huge jump start for them, and then B, you'll never hear the end of it from Dallas Cowboys
Super Bowl,
fans,
Super Bowl, this is our run.
Yeah, it just would be asinine. So I got Tampa
Bay.
Yeah, I got Tampa Bay winning this game tonight by a final score of 33-17.
I like that score. I think that score is just about that's right where I'm looking.
I need a couple.
Cowboys should get 3 scores.
Yeah, and I needed some field goals in there because I have the Tampa Bay field goal kicker on 6 of my fantasy teams. So.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm kind of I didn't even draft kickers in no leagues. I've been just I'm just gonna swap them in and out all year long. And I scooped up who was that? I scooped up Matt Gay actually as my kicker. So yeah, so those are the scores. What did I give you again? I gave you 36
to 17. So not too far.
I like that score. I think that's solid, man.
Yeah. It is 8:22, so the game is officially started. I am going to go over briefly some of the over-under picks that Awthentik and myself made prior to the show. So hopefully these will hit for us, and then it's kind of give you guys a little bit of insight on some of the stuff we will be doing Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Parlay. So
let's get it.
Dak Prescott over 2 total touchdowns. So we need 3 touchdowns from Dak. Either 2 rushing.
So is it going to be
2 throwing, 1 rushing? Yeah, it's going to be difficult to get now that we think about it.
I don't know what you took when we registered them. I think I said the over.
You did.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under.
I can't change it now. The game started.
I'm taking the under now.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady over 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Over.
Yeah. And then Leonard Fournette, 39.5 rushing yards. Over.
Over.
Yes. And then CeeDee Lamb, 69.5 receiving yards.
Over.
And
Did
we
you
got
take
him
under?
on. We got him on. No, I took over. We got
Good
him on
job.
our fantasy team that we have
do.
together.
I got him on like a few fantasy teams too. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a really good year. He's the kind of player that, like, even when you're getting your butt kicked, man, like, he can still get some catches and put up some yards, man. We saw that last year, even with a guy like Andy Dalton.
Yeah, and then Mike Evans, 69.5 receiving yards.
I didn't give you an answer for this one, I don't think, but I'm taking the under on that.
I took the over.
Yeah, you're like, what are you, Authentic? Why are you setting me up? These are supposed to be alley-oops, not Dikembe. No.
No, I think it's gonna be a fun game. Football is back. I'm super excited.
Yes,
this was
man.
a great run up to the game tonight. We got our picks in. It's going to be fun. Don't forget, we are live again Sunday morning, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the
Facts.
parlay. I also follow us on Twitter. We'll be tweeting out the link for the DraftKings Awthentik and The Beard, the Parlay League. I saw a couple of people already signed up, so shout out to you guys. And anything from you, Authentic, as far as the rest of the night?
Y'all enjoy yourselves, man. Opening day. This is amazing. I'm glad we're here, man. Shout out to all the content creators out there who held us down in the off season, held down all the fans with all the information we needed throughout the draft, all of that. You know what it is, Mac. Giants Nation, we in the building one time. Giants, we got to go out there and get that W. I'm going to keep my eyes on the Washington football team. Y'all enjoy y'all Thursday night football, man. we going to see y'all on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. for the parlay, man. I'm Authentic. That's the Beard. Left side.
Strong side.
Hey, peace out, y'all. Enjoy y'all Thursday night football. Peace.